Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby! Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. And today's series is my spoiler review for the new Netflix series, which is called Bet, which is based off the anime Kakaguri, from the anime show, from the mangas, and of course the live action version of this in Japan. And so it's based off all of that, and I'm gonna do a spoiler review for it. So if you have not seen this show or any of it, please definitely check it out before you listen to this spoiler review. So y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode starts off as Yumiko is in detention for gambling, as she's gambling students and a teacher named Mr. Nolan, and the principal breaks this up as Yumiko gets expelled from this school, as we find out this was a plan so she can get to the school / academy that she wants to go or needs to go, as we find out that this is a plan for her to get revenge for the death of her parents. She seems unhinged, and I feel like so far, if you're just comparing this to the anime and some other stuff of this based off of Bet, the one thing about Yumiko in this one is Netflix does really focus more on her unhinged part in this scene. They really make it obvious that she has a gambling problem, a gambling addiction. They do highlight in this scene that she knows her stuff when it comes to this. But the thing I noticed so far, and just in this one scene, that I can tell that obviously Netflix was going to do somewhat a little bit different with this. And if I don't try to compare it, I'm not going to compare it too much to the other ones, but I will do in little segments and here and there for if it does make sense. So I am going to compare it because it does kind of make sense. So with Yumiko in this version, this tells me that they're really just gonna highlight on her being kind of crazy, and obviously they're gonna use a lot of adult humor, adult jokes within this, obviously, and they're really gonna play more into this, which is okay. It's fine because it's hard to make a live action version of an anime. I know people are like, it's easy, you just do the exact same thing you do on this. Well, it may not work all the time like that, but that's here nor there for that part. But I'm okay with this, and here's my reason. The reason why is if you're gonna if you're gonna make a show off of this anime, and there's so much depth layers for all these characters, and especially Yumiko, you might as well just do the ones that people kind of remember the most about this character. And if you really think about it, if somebody was just casually came across the anime series and decided to watch it and likes it, right? The one thing a casual fan or a casual person who just comes across this and decides to watch this show or even the anime, like I said, the two things you're going to get out of this about Yumiko is she's unhinged, and you know she makes a lot of adult humor jokes and comments and phrases. So yeah, they're going to sexualize it a little bit on it, and that's what people are going to remember about this character anyway. So I'm not mad and I'm not upset that Netflix and the producers, showrunners, all all agreed that this is the right way to go with the show, because you know what, those are the only two things I feel like a casual viewer would get out of this. The two things I just mentioned out of this one character, based on this one episode. So it's fine. Like, and then, there's a lot of, you see in this one episode, this scene, I should say, just her playing her role. She's manipulating people, and everything she does is a plan, is a tactical, strategy. Like, she was acting like she was in trouble. She was acting like she got caught, which she did, but just she made everybody think like she's sad and she feels guilty for doing this. And then her guardian angel, or the person who fostered her, she's like, okay, the plan's done, and now nobody's gonna dig in some files and realize that she's the daughter of, such and such, of her parents, basically. And that was the plan. So already in this one scene, let me run it back a little bit. I'm okay with this show just highlighting the two things about Yumiko as a character, the unhinged and just the adult humor and the sexualizing this character type way. Because that's, again, I feel like most casual viewers who come across any of this stuff, that's the two things they're gonna get out of this character and remember this character if they were ever to bring it up in conversation, right? And now the idea of like they're going more to the Netflix showrunners on this show. You can tell now how they shifted over, and they really go more highlight on the anime part. So again, why get expelled? Why do all this to go to this next school that you want to go, that your parents went to, right? And that's fine. That's fine. So the part, and what I mean, and the point I'm trying to make is when they go switch it to more on the anime, make it more anime like, kind of take away the logical thinking out of it. This is where, yes, it is an art. If you watch a show like this, don't take it serious. This is just something for you to escape reality for an hour, 15 minutes, or maybe a day if you need it, right? That's fine. That's what this show's kind of for. And yeah, there's the logic. There's really shouldn't be any type of logical reasons to watch this show, or logical reasons in this type of anime plot story. So the logic is not really that important in this case of it, which is fine. Because again, this was all a plan, and it's just funny to watch Yumiko say, yes, I got expelled. This was the plan all the time. Nobody's gonna do any digging on my history, my past, quote unquote, and everything's gonna work out. Like, just no red flags are gonna show up. That's the logic in this. And it was just funny to see that. And like, look at the person who's taking care of. She was really like a maid or a housekeeper for her parents. It's kind of like she's like Alfred, and she's Batman. It has that Batman feel in a way, but not Batman really. But just look at it that way is what I would say. And so that's fine. And the way they played it off, we never see this school again, and we don't really hear about the school. We do hear about the school again, but just it's overglazed for whatever reason. And there's really, again, when the time is right, they do throw away the logic out of it. So that, and I think, and that's good for a show like this, especially if you're doing anime. So kudos to that. We also meet this character named Ryan, which I believe this character is the character Ryan is, I would say, based off of two of the characters from the anime, or maybe there's a third one, I believe, that has a lot of similarities to Ryan. But this one's kind of pretty much for Netflix. The character Ryan is like a hybrid version character of two or three other characters from that anime series that this character Ryan from the show Bet has the same personalities, same views in life, and the same way it approaches things. Ryan this character is very shy, quiet, maybe a little nerdy. He doesn't have a lot of game with the ladies, so he's not really good at rizzing them up. But he's really easy to be pushed around, and he gets bullied a lot. Because he's probably the weakest one physically and mentally. But he's one of those, and as he's playing a game against a character named Mary, which is this character Mary is another hybrid character that has the same personality and charismas and character traits from, I would say, from what I looked up and from me watching the anime show and the Japanese live action series of this, this character Mary, to me, reminds me of like two female characters from the anime series and reading materials. So this Mary is pretty much just another hybrid character, but she does resemblance the craziness. She does the very manipulative. She's kind of bratty. She's kind of like a princess, vibe. And, I can already tell that this show is taking a lot of material and ideas from this series, right? From this anime, basically. And a lot of these characters we'll see or change. Like Ryan is obviously changed, but it's not a bad change. Like it's like a change you shouldn't really care about, right? Like who cares, right? But he is a character again. There's a bunch of characters that are in love with Yumiko, and Ryan is the main guy who's in love with Yumiko, which is another character too who's in love with Yumiko as well. And again, but in the anime, there's multiple guys, a lot. But that's okay. I think so far they're keeping it just two characters for male, and then there's, I would say, about three female characters. Well, no, I would say four female characters based on these episodes on the Netflix series Bet that have feelings and is attracted to Yumiko. But in the anime version, there was a lot more character. I think half the school academy had feelings for her. And so, but they kind of just, Netflix and the showrunners for this really just broke it down a lot, cut a lot down. And this is them trying to simplify it, the story, but keep the anime feel to it, but have their own twist to it. And this is kind of like the twist to it is that you're going to see through this is this show has what the things we do in today's society. You know, this is the part where this show basically is the art and is going to imitate life. And so that's the twist to it, you know, that's why you're seeing the cell phones, the live streams, the selfies, the language or the lingo that the kids today use, you know, of this generation, and their style, the clothing they wear is what you would see people today wear in today's life, right? Which is fine. It's great. It's fashion. It's beautiful, and I encourage everybody to have their own fashion style, right? And so this was just a show in this scene too when they introduce again like Ryan and Mary. You know, they dress the way that we would dress now, but the anime was a little bit different. They don't really try to dress the way society dress. They dress the way in whatever how the anime was written to be about, basically. So a little different, but nothing. I'm not surprised that Netflix went this route. Not shocked at all, to be honest. Honestly, I'm really not. And I expected this type situation to come out, but they also show how much like cheating is encouraged through this whole series, and that's one thing about that anime again is like with the gambling throughout this whole show, and of course through the anime Kaguru, you know, cheating is very encouraged about this, and it's about you know, it has that Ocean 11 feel to it when it comes to that, and it shows us that you can't pay up, and of course if you're below the line on the board, because there's a board, the higher you go, the more chance you can be part of the council team if they allow you, which we'll talk about them later. You know, and if you can't do it, if you can't pay off and you're on the bottom of the board, you end up becoming a house pet. Now, in the live action series, not live action, but live adaptation, the Japanese version of this, they called it like they called the males doggy, and they called the females kitty or kitty cat, I believe. And you know, you're pretty much their slave, their pet owners until you can pay it off. Whether you win in you just clean up, or you just win more gambling, of course. And you know, the high powers in this business or political, you know, Ryan explains that the blackjackers, who are the top elite basically, and they control the games, and you know, you don't want to mess with them. So he explains that, but then in the next scene we see Yumiko meet her roommate, and she explains that a lot of people here disappear basically or get murdered, right? And this whole school basically, like, teachers are not in charge. They are in charge when it's school time, but beyond the point, but once they go back to their border room, you know, the students are in control. You know, the inmates run the jail cell basically, and that's how they try to imply this. And of course, Yumiko, at her best, she sets a bet that they're gonna switch sides of the board of their room because she wants to be by the window, and her roommate Blake is like, "Listen, like, again, if you're too pushy, you're gonna disappear." Yumiko is, again, she's up for the challenge, and she accepts Mary's challenge as she meets them, and you know, she's not really the backing down, and she wants to climb on the board to be part of the council, of course, to get back of revenge for the death of her parents. So this is what it's all about. And you know, of course, she challenged Mary, and she realized that Mary's just cheating, and
obviously she plays, and then of course Mary loses, and now she becomes a pet to Ryan, as Yumiko takes all her funds and gives it to Ryan so he can pay off his debt, even though Ryan is the one who was throwing signs to Mary to try to beat Yumiko. And so it just shows like Yumiko is going to expose everybody in this school and expose the death of her parents, which we learned they died in a car explosion. And again, we see that Yumiko is winning as she won the bet with her roommate, and she gets a prize and she makes friends with Ryan, and we can already see in a slowly but surely a new alliance that will probably happen throughout this season of Bet. And again, really good, and that's how that show's ending, by the way. But again, really good. They're, as far as Yumiko, like I said, they're gonna explore that she's mysterious, she has a past, she's unhinged, but she's very smart, and she's really good at playing card games, casino type games that you would go at a casino, basically. She's really good at betting. She has a gambling problem, and I mean all of them do really, but it just shows that she's playing chess and everybody's playing checkers type. She has that type of mentality. And I like that about that. That's what I like about this show is, you know, they focus more on Yumiko. But really the anime series is about Yumiko, but it was more about other characters in that anime. So realistically, if Ryan is the one I think a lot of people compare him to, he should be the star of it, but the way Netflix did it, Yumiko is the star, and this way he's not going to be the most important character. Yumiko is, of course, and that's the best route you could go with this is to make it about her pretty much. And really Ryan's the sidekick, Mary's going to be the sidekick in this show, but I think that's the best route that they felt like to go with, and I'm okay with that because again, episode 1 I would say was really awesome. They laid out the format, they laid out like how this show's going to be. They gave you the beginning, a middle, and an end, right? And you're like, well, all shows and all movies like that. Yes. But to somebody who's not familiar what the show Bet is based off of, and who doesn't want to watch all the anime or read the mangas or watch the Japanese version of this, you know, if somebody just wants to watch this show and just based off of this episode, I thought it was pretty well explained where people can get the idea of what this show is going to be about and what the theme around this is. Obviously, it's about Yumiko getting revenge for her parents, and then this is the way she's going to get it back is the theme of gambling. You know, winning gamblings, winning funds, losing, you know, making big high bets. You know, and there's going to be a lot of plot twists and turns. And of course, there will be some romance in this. So people get a casual viewer will get a good idea of it with those really being highlighted the most. So most of this, I'm just going to review it based off of the episode. And if I want to compare it to certain things like I have been, I will. But just don't expect a lot of it. So just based off of this episode, again, really, really told story. You know, for this is like the introduction. they gave you a whole introduction, because when we met like Kira, they talked about Kira. They talked about Izuku. They talked about Mary and Dory. And of course Ryan, and then we also got to meet Michael, who's the guy who does not participate in this. And he's like, look, you can just go to school here, get an education, graduate, and leave. You don't have to participate in none of the gambling. You can just go to school here and live a regular high school life, basically, if you like a private school type. Because these students they live at the school. And that's how the theme, like, again, and you know what? I noticed that the way the background, the scenes, the settings, the props in this show reminds me of like Riverdale, which is fine. That's what a updated format version of these teen drama shows and stuff, especially with anime like this. So it makes sense. A lot of fantasy. There's really not a lot of logical thinking in this. Again, that's the most important thing, because at least they do try to add and imply the anime feel to it, which they do very well in this one episode. And I also did like, the switch ups to some of these characters. Like, again, a lot of these characters are a mixture of other animated characters from that anime. And it makes sense, because it just tells me like they're not going to cover everything that anime has covered or talked about or had episodes about, which is fine. That's okay. Because this has only had 10 episodes. Usually it's there. There is about 18 volumes of this series if you read the manga, and so there's a lot, and there's a lot of material. And to me, the Netflix show is going to take multiple stories from all 18, but not all of them, and they're going to try to cut it down, because there's a lot of characters, and each volume's a little bit different, and each volume focuses a little bit differently more on a particular character, and it seems like they're not trying to go. I don't think they're going to use all the stories, and I don't think they're going to focus on every character from all 18 volumes of that. That's what I feel like. I think, again, like, some of these characters have a mixture. Well, I call them hybrid characters because, again, this show combines characters and personalities and traits and make a brand new character out of it for this particular show. So I'm okay with that. Like I said, again, it's okay. But I like that. So as far as episode 1, this was a good introduction to what this series is going to be about and what all these students are going to be like and how they're going to act. I think this is really great. And if I had to give this a 1 out of 10, I'm definitely going to give it a 6. Really great start, a little slow pace, but this was a build up for the next episode, which would be episode 2, of course. And I think now, from when we start episode 2, it seems like they're going to start highlighting more about like the gambling part. We'll probably see episodes where she's playing more games, the stakes are higher, the pressure's more, because they give you a little glimpse of it when we see Yumiko challenge Mary. And you see, like, Yumiko in this one, she uses this like coin, like a chip coin, and we see that she's using it to see how things are going to be played out, which is fine. Like, we're seeing that everybody works for everybody, and everybody's in debt to somebody. And that's the idea of it. And it's a dog eat dog survive to survive type feel. And that's what's the beauty of it. So a good introduction for that. And again, when we get to like episode 2 and beyond, I think we'll see more of what the theme is about of it. So, they build it up right. And I think slowly but surely, I think this could be a great live adaptation of Kakegurui, which is a compulsive gambler. And this is a good start. I think this is a series to me, like once you watch the whole thing, I think you will like the show. I think people will enjoy it. And yeah, we can nitpick about what they're missing, what they should have done. And if you're trying to just watch it like anime accurate, I would watch the Japanese version of this, which came out in like 2012. But it's on Netflix too, so watch that if you want that more anime accurate to it. But if not, this is still a good show. And episode 1 really did build it up right, and I think it made it really simple to get the hang of it. And I really enjoyed it, and it's not a really bad series at all. The only bad thing or flaw that I see is they're kind of just gonna glaze over a lot of the stuff again, because there's a lot going on with that anime, and I don't think, again, they're going to cover everything. So a lot of this, again, is going to get glazed over. For example, like, instead of trying to be more anime accurate to it in certain aspects of the show, they try to make it more like up to date in today's society with like the technologies, the language, the slang words, I should say, the slang. And try to make it like if this animated series actually existed in the year 2025, this would how it would actually look like, when it comes to social media. They do the TikTok feel to it, the Instagram / Meta Reels. It's all about having likes, getting followers, just things like that. I think they're going to focus more on that. And that's what glazing over means sometimes. Like, this character does this, and then, oh, look, this character is, on social media, or, oh, no, people are talking bad about her, made a video about her on this app, That's what it's about, and that's all they care about. But that's okay. That's okay, because I think this is the route they wanted to go to. And again, it's not a bad route of a storytelling plot. Art imitating life. It's not a bad route to go. And I have nothing really bad about it. But again, as an anime fan, I wish they didn't glaze over certain things in this episode. But again, that's just me being a hardcore anime fan, and I just don't want to gatekeep it. So I'm trying to be more open-minded about it. But again, it's just as far as a show, you just separate it from the anime and all the die-hard fan feel. Like, this is a really good startup, and it really hyped it up. And I think, again, the casual viewer will truly enjoy this series, especially this episode. But 1 out of 10, again, I'm giving it a 6. It's not a bad thing. It's a good show. Really good episode. I loved it, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. What I think is going to happen next, I think in episode 2 that they'll focus more on showing like some of the games they participate as far as gambling and what they're doing. And it's definitely going to have that intense feeling of like, oh, is she going to lose? Oh my gosh, this person cheated. How could she or he? It's going to have one of those OMG moments that they're building up towards, and I think they'll execute it right, in my opinion. So, good start, love it, and I hope you guys loved it too. So, that's my review, y'all. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official Channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.